My name's Sebastian, and welcome to another episode of the 3D Show. Today's episode, we're talking about something really fun here. How do we use point cloud technology or reality capture tech in the world of facility management? My name's Sebastian, welcome to the 3D Show. Welcome to New York.
Well, that was fun. Now I'm here back in the attic. Welcome to the 3D Show. In this episode, we're going to talk about three different things. One is, what is facility management becoming and where is it today and where we want it to be, but it's just not there yet. Two, we're going to be talking about leveraging point cloud data, 3D laser scanning data, and how do we find the longevity of the data. And three is we're going to talk about ecosystems. Let's talk about facility management. Bob is a facility manager and he's a fixer-upper. Bob knows the buildings inside and out. Now, Bob, once again, one step higher. He truly wants to understand all the portions of the building. Now, Bob is also evolving today. Bob today isn't the millennial or Gen Z on the laptop here with his MacBook doing all this kind of stuff. No, Bob is still doing a little bit more of the old school. He's hands-on, he has a walkie-talkie, he may be starting to use text, maybe. Bob is still using traditional methods and he's using a diagram. And old school still works, but today's world also is coming in with technology. So we have to always understand that there is a degree of hesitation for evolution, but there's also an old school way of doing it, and if it is not broken, don't fix it, and particularly if costs are low. So let's bring up the project I just was recording. I had a very interesting conversation with one of the facility managers. They wanted us to capture the entire space, and they said, well, listen, once you leave, what's this data useful for? Once I do my construction work and all that stuff. Let's not always forget the life of a surveyor. We usually just go in and we do our job, we collect our data, we leave, and we almost forget there's an entire operation going on after we leave. So to the second point of the conversation here is leveraging your 3D laser scanning and how do you bring that into the facility management space. With the point cloud data that you give them, the data set that you have, it has a coordinate system. Now that coordinate system is very unique because you can start talking about, listen, you want to coordinate with your engineering construction team, you have this global coordinate system, why don't you import the coordinate system of your own floor plans, of your own models and merge that with the point cloud data. And now you can start working with different members, different stakeholders, and they can understand the space collectively. And everyone now is in a collaborative mode because they have a single source of truth, which is the point cloud data. So now you've created the conditions for people to really sit down, collaborate, coordinate, and operate, and then execute. And that doesn't even need your full involvement because they have the data now. And that's where a lot of the value is. It's the constant use case to bring an ecosystem in which data can be brought into it and it can be formulated to make proactive decisions that can reduce, going back to building material, downtime, and reduce mistakes, which everyone seems to want to do. They want to reduce mistakes, but they don't know how. The point cloud really becomes that central piece. It becomes the connective tissue for all the stakeholders to start talking about a specific issue. Now, the third thing is about ecosystems. Now, different companies are providing this, and this is becoming a new trend, is how can we be the number one in the ecosystem game? How can we be the next go-to software for any kind of visual information? It's all about where's the facility manager standing today? Where do they want to go? And how can you be an additive tool for them to get to that next level? How do you get them to start leveraging point cloud when they never even heard of point cloud to begin with? You will never get to that next level if you don't listen. Some people can't use difficult platforms to understand point cloud. So you got to make their life easy. You got to give them something that works for them. If their implementation or adoption is going to be very limited, give them something a little bit more straightforward. That's why I made a checklist below. Top questions I usually ask people for facility managers. Hopefully that helps out. Like I said, do this for an act of love. I have a lot of fun doing this. It's 12:30 at night in my time. I got to wake up at 7, and I'm really appreciative of everyone's support. The comments have been phenomenal. My name is Sebastian. Welcome to another episode of the 3D Show. Ciao, ciao.